Hey everyone, this is going to be the last section of our four-part discussion on love in our time, and just giving you a couple selections of stories within the collection, within the volume of In Our Time, to think about how Hemingway's defining love. How does it function within the modern world? And I want you to think about what truths does he find about the complexities of love, rather than just saying, this kind of pie in the sky, rainbows and hearts and everything is wonderful and great. He's actually showing some more of the complexities, the deeper complexities, some of the emotional baggage that we all bring with us into relationships, and how that sometimes adds complexity to our relationships. And I wanted to leave off with the brief discussion on 3-Day Blow. 3-Day Blow is actually kind of like a sequel to the end of something. And so you'll see some of the themes that happen within the end of something re-emerging here. And so the main theme is going to be the end of Nick and Marjorie's relationship. So I want you to follow along. And this gives a little bit more insights into what happened and what's going on within Nick. And again, I want you to think about, why did he end the relationship, and how is he feeling in the aftermath of this particular relationship that he ended, right? And so he's the one that was driving this relationship, he's the one that broke it off with Marge. How does he feel about it, and why does he feel this way? And I'm going to kind of pick up towards the middle of the story. I'm not going to really focus too much on the beginning, where Nick and Bill are sitting there, talking about literature and baseball and drinking. I'm not really going to talk about that. But at this point, Nick and Bill have already had a few too many drinks, and kind of this kind of banal, kind of ordinary discussion. But all of a sudden, and this is where we see the unexpected violence that generally happens. And it's not always physical violence. This is going to be kind of an emotional toll, as Bill brings up Marge once again. He says, "You are very wise, Wemmage," which is a nickname that he has for Nick. "You are very wise, Wemmage." "What do you mean?" asked Nick. "To bust off that Marge business," Bill said. "I guess so," said Nick. "It was the only thing to do. If you hadn't, by now you'd be back home and working, trying to get enough money to get married." Nick said nothing. "Once a man's married, he's absolutely, vid angel here, done for," Bill went on. "He has nothing, he hasn't got anything more, nothing, not a darn thing. He's done for. You've seen guys that get married." Nick said nothing. "You can tell them," Bill said. "They get this sort of fat married look. They're done for." "Sure," said Nick. "It was probably bad busting it off," Bill said, "but you've always fall for somebody else, and then it's all right. Fall for them, but don't let them ruin you," right? So this is some advice that Bill's giving to Nick. "Yes," said Nick. "If you've had married her, you would have had to marry the whole family. Remember her mother and that guy she married?" Nick nodded. "Imagine having them around the house all the time, and going to Sunday dinners at their house, and having them over for dinner, and her telling Marge all the time what to do and how to act." Nick sat quiet. And again, we've seen this time and time again in these Hemingway stories, right? That actually means something more than actually just being quiet. "You've come out of it darn well," Bill said. "Now she can marry somebody of her own sort and settle down and be happy. You can't mix oil and water, and you can't mix that sort any more than if I'd marry Ida that works for Stratton's. She'd probably like it, too." Nick said nothing. The liquor had all dried out of him and left him alone. Bill wasn't there. He wasn't sitting in front of the fire going fishing tomorrow with Bill and his dad or anything. He wasn't drunk. It was all gone. And when you think about what's happening to Nick here, as he's kind of Bill's forced him to revisit these emotions. All he knew was that he had once had Marjorie, and that he had lost her. She was gone, and he had sent her away. That was all that mattered. He might never see her again. Probably he never would. It was all gone, finished. "Let's have another drink," Nick said. Bill poured it out. Nick splashed in a little water. "If you'd gone on that way, We wouldn't be here now, Bill said. That was true. His original plan had been to go down home and get a job. Then he had planned to stay in Charlevoix all winter so he could be near Marge. Now he did not know what he was going to do. Probably we wouldn't be going fishing tomorrow, Bill said. You had the right dope, all right. I couldn't help it, Nick said. I know, that's the way it works out, Bill said. All of a sudden, everything was over. I don't know why it was. I couldn't help it. Just like when the 3-day blow comes now and rips all the leaves off the trees. And this kind of reminds me of Rexburg right now. The kind of the 3-day blow comes, and then you have the fall. Well, it's all over. That's the point, Bill said. It was my fault, Nick said. It doesn't make any difference whose fault it was, Bill said. No, I suppose not. The big thing was that Marjorie was gone and that probably he would never see her again. He had talked to her about how they would go to Italy together and the fun they would have, places they would be together. It was all gone now. So long as it's over, that's all that matters, Bill said. I tell you, Wimage, I was worried while it was going on. You played it right. I understand her mother was as sore as, I'll just say heck, she told a lot of people you were engaged. We weren't engaged, Nick said. It was all around that you were. I can't help it, Nick said. We weren't. Weren't you going to get married? Bill asked. Yes, but we weren't engaged, Nick said. What's the difference? Bill asked judiciously. I don't know. There's a difference. I don't see it, said Bill. She was terrible, Bill said. All of a sudden it was all over, Nick said. I oughtn't to talk about it. You aren't, Bill said. I talked about it and now I'm through. We won't ever speak about it again. You don't want to think about it. You might get back into it again. Nick had not thought about that. It had seemed so absolute. That was a thought. That made him feel better. Sure, he said. There's always that danger. He felt happy now. There was not anything that was irrevocable. He might go into town Saturday night. Today was Thursday. There's always a chance, he said. You'll have to watch yourself, Bill said. I'll watch myself, he said. He felt happy. Nothing was finished. Nothing was ever lost. He could go into town on Saturday. He felt lighter, as he had before Bill started to talk about it. There was always a way out. I want you to think about that idea of what happens when Bill brings up this relationship with Marge. How does he feel about it? How does he respond to it? Why does he feel that way, right? And if he feels that way, again, why did he break up with Marge, right? What was going on kind of below the surface? I want you to start connecting the dots a little bit. And then what makes Nick feel better, right? What is it about him being able to go into town? What is it about him being able to go and see Marjorie again? What is it about being able to get back into the relationship again, right? If he broke up because he didn't necessarily want that relationship or he felt that something was off, why does he want to go back into it? Or why does the thought of going back into it make him feel happy, right? What's going on within Nick? How do we see his character development? What does Nick learn in this particular story? How do we see his character grow?